Let's get the rest of the day's news now. Here's Sophie.
Thank you, Jane. Good morning. The royal family has led tributes to mark 1 year since the death of Queen Elizabeth II. Nine's Europe correspondent Edward Godfrey is in London. Ed, the King and Queen spent the day in Scotland where Her Majesty passed away.
Yeah, they have, Sophie. There have been big crowds here at Buckingham Palace right through the day, but King Charles and Queen Camilla have spent the day in Scotland. We were told they were going to have a very low-key day out of public view, but they did make a brief appearance. They went to a service at a church right next door to Balmoral Castle. That was a private service. There were some local school children there to greet them, some bringing drawings of the Queen and flowers, which they accepted on the way out. But the King and Queen spending the day there at Balmoral Castle, where, as you say, the Queen did pass away. The main event was reserved really for William and Kate in Wales. They attended St David's Cathedral for a service there. There was a crowd there to greet them as well. Kate laid some flowers at a portrait of the Queen, and the pair signed the cathedral guest book on the way out. There was a surprise appearance from Prince Harry. We know he flew into London yesterday morning, Australian time, for a charity awards event. A very sharp tourist claims to have got us a picture of him coming out of St George's Chapel at Windsor, which is the Queen's final resting place, and that image is doing the rounds in the UK tabloids here this evening. There have been tributes coming in from various members of the royal family today, some really lovely tributes, but this also doubles as the anniversary of Charles's ascension to the throne, and there have been gun salutes right across the United Kingdom. They've been held in Edinburgh, they've been held in Cardiff, here in London at Hyde Park, not far from where we are. Lots of crowds coming through here, and we spoke with some who came up to Buckingham Palace a little earlier.
I just woke up and I thought of the Queen. I felt like I need to be here. Yeah. Yes. I want to say hi to her.
I can remember sort of exactly what I was doing this time last year when I found out, and I think that's like significant enough for it to make a big enough difference. Yeah, and she's obviously all I've known my life.
So some crowds here, but really a far cry from this time last year. This area here was absolutely heaving. And you remember those hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people really across those days in between the Queen passing and her funeral, Westminster Abbey, just pouring out onto the streets, visiting royal residences to pay tributes. It felt as though London really came to a standstill. A much more low-key affair as you would expect in London here today, Sophie. The King and Queen treating this as a day of reflection.
OK, Edward, thank you.
Time now for our weekend cover story. Members of the royal family have paid tribute to Queen Elizabeth II as we mark 1 year since her passing.
For more, let's bring in ITV News royal editor Chris Shipp in London. Good morning to you, Chris. The King and Queen Camilla, along with Kate and William, have been out and about today to pay their respects.
Yeah, good morning to you. Yeah, I've just got back from Balmoral Castle, where we saw King Charles and Queen Camilla today and some other members of the royal family. Of course, we should remember that accession day for the King, and you see him there in Crathy Church, just across the road from Balmoral, where he had some private prayers and some moments of reflection. We should remember that accession day for him is not a celebration of the moment he became king, but it's the day, of course, that his late mother, Queen Elizabeth, died, and therefore it is a difficult day for the monarch, just as it actually was for the late Queen when she always marked the death of her father George VI. And you see the King there meeting some members of the Balmoral household, including actually some of the gamekeepers who were the very first to carry the Queen's coffin this time last year when it began that journey from Balmoral to London.
So Harry has also made a surprise appearance. We saw him visiting St George's Chapel where the Queen is buried, and he looked quite emotional.
Yeah, this was a picture that a member of the public took. He went to St George's Chapel in Windsor. It is, of course, where the Queen is buried, next to her husband and, of course, her father as well. And I mean, I saw Harry last night at an awards ceremony in London for a children's charity. He looked, actually, I have to say, very relaxed. It's the kind of thing that he really likes to do. But he's in Windsor, the place where his brother Prince William lives, and the two brothers did not speak to one another. Yes, Prince William had some engagements on the south coast of England yesterday and in West Wales today. But, you know, the royals have the means at their disposal to meet if they wanted to meet. And they didn't. They
do. And I think all of it, personally, I just feel really sad about that, despite everything that's happened, they can't get together. To mark this anniversary, we know the King has shared a previously unreleased photo of the Queen, as well as a recorded message.
Yes, he recorded an audio message and a picture actually of his mother from 1968 was what he chose. It was released this morning by Buckingham Palace, and a short message when he was paying respects to her, but also wanted to thank everyone for the support they've given to him as king, as he and the Queen consorts, Queen Camilla, embark on their life of service. And that was the photo you see there was the one that he released.
Chris Shipp, 1 year on now, what sort of legacy has Queen Elizabeth left?
I think this nation, and I'm sure in many parts of Australia as well, are very sad. They are missing a queen who did this job, this duty for 70 years. And, there are so many parts of national life, but also international life that she was so well connected with, not just those Christmas broadcasts, but just the way she led the nation, particularly so well in her latter years. You think of the messages she gave about COVID when the world was enveloped in that crisis. The king, I think it will take it a lot longer for him to make that connection as monarch with his people. And, I'm sure in Australia in due course, you will debate these issues about whether to keep him as head of state or not, just as they've done in other Commonwealth realms. But I will say this about the king. He's opted for stability this year. No great change. He's not been the great reforming, campaigning monarch that many people thought he would be. And why is that? Well, in Britain, as in other parts of the world, there is a cost of living crisis. Times are quite hard for people. We've had a lot of political instability as well. The Prime Minister's changed already once under his watch, and he's opted, therefore, to be a king of stability rather than one of great reform thus far.
ITV News Royal Editor Chris Shipp, thanks for joining us. We can see the time on the screen there, close to midnight, so we really appreciate it. Thank you.